All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, presented to you by the OURA ring. I'll get to that in just a second. I'm Lance Armstrong, sitting right here to my left, J.B. Hager, Jeffrey Benedict Hager. Over there, Mr. Popular, G.I. Joe. That's a little tip-off to a little something we got for you later, George. And joining us virtually, which George will get into. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. We have a special guest. George would like to introduce him or her. You don't know who it is. You're not allowed to even say those things these days. Them.
Yeah.
George will introduce them here in just a second. Surprise guest. But as I said a second ago, today's show brought to you by OURA ring. I love this thing. I slept like a rock last night. I went down to the pharmacy and I bought like one of these cheap mouth guards. I didn't realize most people grind their teeth at night. This has nothing to do with the OURA ring, but I went down. It was like a football mouthpiece. I melted it, put it in my mouth. I slept like my sleep data was completely different. I must be grinding my teeth in the night. The other cool, I get daily emails from OURA. I just actually got one. So they've introduced a new feature, sleep sharing. So George, I would like to share my sleep with you so you see how well I'm sleeping. Another question they get a lot, when they take a nap, do they get credit? Where does that data go? Is there a way to assign things like mood of my daily stressors?
I will definitely beat you on the nap.
You will kick my ass on the nap. Well, look at you. This is a man who clearly takes a lot of naps. Look at him. And this is another great question for anybody out there like our great friend Katie. Do I have a way to monitor my health during pregnancy? Awesome, right? This thing is next level. I'm a religious user. We backed the company over at Next Ventures, full disclosure. A great partnership with the NBA, the WNBA. Yeah, I mean, it's, boy, if you saw my data last night, head on over to auraring.com. There's the flow code. So this is real simple. You just open up your camera, put your camera on the flow code, and, follow the steps from there. We are talking about stage 7, and we're going to cue our good friend Alain. These are getting better and better, the pronunciation.
Stage 7, mieux tout lavor.
Mieux tout lavor, which was, of course, won by a guy who just can't do anything wrong, Wout van Aert, who also just announced he's having a baby boy. That probably slow him down.
Or make him faster.
Huh?
Or make them faster.
Yeah. Hey, today's show also brought to you by Amp Human. This is we talk about it all the time. This is a product I love so much, and it was one of these things that too good to be true. And George, maybe we'll talk to your special guest here in a second about it. But the PR lotion, sodium bicarbonate cream. Look, the proof is in the lotion, not in the pudding, but in the lotion. The last 2 winners of the Super Bowl used it religiously. NHL Stanley Cup. Kipchoge runs 1:59 to set an unofficial world record. Bunch of riders in the tour. I think the last 3 winners of the tour actually used it. Head on over to amphuman.com/themove. 25% off on your first purchase. The buy code there, or the code is THEMOVE25. But there's some breaking news with Amp Human. Half of the world, did you know, you probably don't know this, George. What is half of the world deficient in?
Vitamin D?
Vitamin D. So before the end of 2020, this badass company, okay, with this badass product, is coming out with transdermal vitamin D.
That's huge.
So most people take vitamin D orally. It's fine, but not that effective. Through the skin is the most effective way. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. This is an exciting product. Anytime you have half the world deficient in something, it's probably a good idea that we address it. Again, head on over to amphuman.com/themove and stay tuned for vitamin D before the end of 2020. What else we got? Good friends at PowerDot. Last one here for a second, then we'll get to we'll turn it over to George, and I'm going to go take a nap. This thing, and look, I know everybody's really concerned about my neck. I have a couple of thoughts about this. All right, I got a haircut yesterday, which you all can probably all see. I look getting better. I thought maybe my hair was weighing down my head and my neck. I don't know if y'all noticed, I changed my arms on my chair, so I'm not hunched up so much. But the only thing getting me to the set every day, I'm telling you, is the PowerDot. I am having to do E-stem all the time. I mean, I don't know if it's because we've been riding more or what, but this is the most effective mobile E-stem unit on the market. George, you've been PowerDotting, right? I got you on the tennis court yesterday. I'm sure you're low back.
Yeah, I woke up kind of sore. I need to definitely hit the PowerDot. I am a little bit concerned about your current state of health. It seems like you're, a little bit off, so we need to get you back to full strength.
You know what I was concerned about? Because I saw some video of the tennis match yesterday. Can you talk us, and maybe we could even pull up a picture or something. The visor? Was that a visor you were wearing?
That is correct. I always wear a visor. That's my style.
Jesus Christ, it was such a bad look. I hope you lost. You deserve to lose.
I did.
Wearing a
did.
visor.
Yes, I did.
Oh man. By the way, PowerDot integrates with Apple Health, Strava, athletes in the NFL, Major League Baseball, PGA. And if you don't like it, if it doesn't work for you, it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Head on over to powerdot.com/TheMove. 20% off with the buy code THEMOVE. Also, for everybody that buys a PowerDot Duo, 40 meals donated to Feeding San Diego and Feeding America during these crazy-ass times that we're living in. All right, let's get into stage 7. George, I'm going to turn this over to you because you got to, everybody likes you, so George gets all the cool kids. Nobody's coming on talking to me, but anyways, over to you, George.
Well, thank you, Lance. I appreciate that. I'm super excited about today's guest. Been following his career now for several years and had the pleasure and honor to have him participate at the Boise Grand Fondo last year, the Hincapie Grand Fondo in Boise, Idaho. And,
Thank God we're not doing that again.
Yeah, that was a tough one. But we really hit it off well. He later came on to do the Hincapie Fondo in Greenville, and what a great guy. His brother Corey have created this amazing program, this amazing team called the Legions of Los Angeles. The way they activate their partnerships and their sponsors is kind of groundbreaking, and I think we need to see more of that in the sport of cycling. And to top it off, he is the fastest guy in America, and who knows how far he can go with that, because if this gentleman gets into a straight line in a sprint, there's nobody beating him.
You know what they say when he's at the front right there, 200 to go.
Yeah, there's nobody coming around him.
Seeing the douches. So every time I watch, I'll say the name, Justin Williams race, it's super exciting. I'm honored to have him on here. He's going to help us break down the sprint stage today. He's going to let us know what he has going on right now with this crazy season we're all living, how he's navigating those waters. So Justin, thank you for joining us, brother.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. That's the amazing introduction, George.
So how have you been? What you been up to?
Good, man. I've just been doing a lot of tracking down sponsors and getting guys together, trying to keep my guys motivated, adding a couple guys to the squad so we can go bigger for next year. We're going to end up going to continental level. So
oh, nice.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
That's great. Have you been able to race at all yet, or just doing training races? Or
Nah, I get to race Corey every day. So
yeah, I watch it. Follow these guys on Instagram, by the way. They have some incredible content on that they post quite often.
Yeah, so we've been just trying to keep each other motivated, but there hasn't been any races. We just kind of slowly watched all the races dissolve as the year kind of went on. But we'll see, depending on what happens. I know, I think Belgian Waffle is still happening. I know that there's some other events popping off, so we're looking for anything to basically go fast in.
All right, we'll come back to the Grand Fondo Hincapie in Greenville.
Exactly.
That's happening.
Exactly. It was funny when you were talking about Boise last year. I remember pulling up to the line with you guys, and you guys both were on cross bikes. And I looked at Lance, and I looked at you, and I was like, "Oh, I'm on an aero bike with 26 tires." I'm like, "Something's not right. Something's not right."
Yeah, you had your crit set up from the night before, and we
100%.
We were down at that crit. We were down there watching. That I haven't seen a criterium like that, and it was cool. It was right at the state capitol. I haven't seen a crit like that in 15, 20 years. Yeah, that was awesome. That's a fun vibe for bike racing anytime, whether it's America or Europe or even the crits after the tour. It's just a party scene, typically at night. But Justin, the one thing about what you're talking about, the bikes, and after having ridden that course, I should have been on a full suspension downhill bike to get through that course.
Yes. I remember I was like, I'm just gonna ride with Lance because you just didn't seem like you were into it. And we started the first dirt section, and I went into the first dirt section so hard, and I was like, once you get into the moment, like you're like in it,
Yeah.
and everyone's going hard, and I'm riding super hard. And I remember the moment I like switched off. I was coming around the corner, and I almost crashed in front of George, and I was like, nah, this is not this is not it. I don't want to be the guy that crashes George out on his Fondo.
Well, thank God for Kristen Armstrong. If it wasn't for Kristen Armstrong, and this is not my ex-wife, the other Kristen Armstrong, my ex-wife probably would have left me out there. Kristen Armstrong, the legendary bike racer, Olympic champion, she, if it wasn't for her, I would still be out there. Like early in the show, early in the tour, like George was about to lead me to the Bears. Chris, I would have been, I don't even know what they have in Boise, but see how I say it right. I would have been left out there if she doesn't save my ass and get me to the finish line. Her hometown.
Oh,
God.
You keep poking George, Lance. He's trying to give it to you every time.
Oh,
every time he catches you slipping.
And he's good. He's good, man. Look at his game. His game is on point. Except his tennis game with the visor is not on point.
I'll okay the beard. I'm not going to okay the visor. Absolutely not.
Well, let's talk about something real important since we're making judgments like that. Do you okay my fanny pack by chance?
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
No, Jay.
I have to. That's a Corey. Have you seen Corey, man? He's bringing the fanny pack back. I thought Lance got that from him.
Hey, see?
Man.
Should we talk about what we all saw today?
Yeah.
Stage 7?
Yeah, let's
Justin,
what did you think about what did you think about the first couple of sprint stages? The first stage obviously was completely chaotic. But I'd love your thoughts on the first stage and obviously today, which wasn't your, typical sprint stage.
Yeah, no, the first stage was it was pretty incredible to watch. Scary, definitely. You could tell when they were coming into like the last couple of K that people just weren't, I feel like the guys were thinking more about safety than they were about, winning, just absolutely winning. So that was like really interesting to watch. I actually got to talk to Sam Bennett after that and kind of discuss like what he was thinking, because I just felt like he had a really good lead out and he was in the right spot and he just didn't do it right. And he was like, and he agreed. He said, he messed up. He was trying to be too smart, which was fantastic. I think his head is in the right place, but it just didn't work out. And, that's how sprinting goes. But today was definitely one of those stages where like it's hard for the pure type sprinters to get to the line, which is why I thought it was going to be perfect for Sagan. You had your typical guys up there, Kakard, even Julian was going for it, which is amazing to see. But man, it just seems like, Van Aert is untouchable right now, man. You guys know how it is. Like once it's going your way and you have the confidence and everyone's looking at you to win, it just kind of puts you in this place where it things start to fall in your favor. And I just think that that's what's happening for him right now.
Yeah. We used to call it no chain.
No chain. I particularly wanted to see your feelings and thoughts on Caleb Ewan's win. I mean, I know when I've seen you sprint, your team does like incredible lead outs. You got a straight shot run in, but I don't think I've ever seen you do that sort of crazy navigation at the end. I'm sure you can, but you probably usually don't have to. But what did you think of that move from Caleb the other day?
Now, funny enough, man, I think that was like one of the best sprints I've ever seen. It's funny that he's Aussie because that reminded me of McEwen, back in the day. That's the kind of moves he would make. It was incredible, man. He wasn't even in the screen, and Sam did a perfect sprint. I have Sam jerseys on my jersey on my wall.
I love it.
So I'm looking at the sprint go down, and I'm like, okay, he did everything right, man. Some days it's just not your day.
Yeah.
He had all the momentum. It was a headwind sprint. He literally rode the draft all the way forward, and then beat Sagan to the barriers. And then, dude, you can't. That was an incredible sprint. You don't get very many of those. So watching that was, I think everyone that sprints can appreciate it.
Watching that little tiny window that he went through, that had to make you like your feathers ruffle a bit.
Yeah, I watched it like maybe 10 times, and it was just like the momentum was perfect. The way he carried speed was perfect. The timing was perfect.
Yeah,
it's like I said, you don't get very many of those. So that was incredible. Sad to see Sam get second, but and funny enough, I was watching it, and I think I felt like Sam started to sit up because he thought he had it, and Caleb was just coming with like
he came with some
million.
It's 1,600 watts, 1,611 watts.
So let's put Justin on the spot. What's your peak?
Yeah, what's the max watts in a sprint?
Or can you say?
I can say coming off of like Corey's wheel, which is like he usually drops me off at like 3940. I'll do like 1,800.
Dang.
Jesus, booyah to the hoo-ha.
This is after an hour and a half.
Yeah, but still, for the listeners, y'all, that's some crazy wattage.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's different. Like I think I can in a standstill like track start. I think I can do 2,000, but it's just not the same when you're coming off of speed.
Are you lifting weights also to get that power? Or that's all just bike power?
It's a little bit. I do core stuff. I don't do a ton of like weights.
Yeah.
I just try to make sure that my body is like efficient and strong, and I'm getting good muscle activation. But I'm not like in the gym every day, man.
George, what kind of a question was that? That is not. It was called born a bad motherfucker power.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was called. Hey, Justin, before we let you go, I just want to read an email that we got from a listener here. And y'all just stand by here for a sec. So it says, so it's a question, it's sent over to the whole crew at the Move, but also for you, Justin. It says, I'm a 6th grade teacher, and this was our first week of virtual learning. The tour and the Move have been all that have got me through this hellish week. I put the race on the projector in my empty classroom. I listened to the Move on the drive home, listened to Johan's show while doing more work from home, and then I do my daily Spanish lesson with Johan while cooking dinner. It made my week and really my year to hear y'all discuss the question I sent in. Lance was my childhood hero, blah, blah, blah. Not to diminish this, but I want to get to your part. He says, and please let Justin know that he is a role model for my students. I always play his videos to start off our bike club after school lessons, and he makes us all so proud. I hope to see him back here shredding the streets of Tulsa next year, unless, of course, we've convinced him he needs to head to Paris instead.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
That's amazing, man.
I hope this particular fellow, his name's Calvin, I hope he's muting some of this stuff around the virtual classroom.
I was gonna say, if they're doing after class bike lessons after watching our videos, I just hope they're not just running into each other.
Hey, I got to ask Justin while we have him on I want to talk about your Legion of LA club. And if you want to look into it, it's L39GION, and the 39 is a nod to where you grew up, right?
Yeah, I grew up on 39th Street in South Central LA. So like when I was trying to develop everything, I've always I went to school for graphic design, and like I've always been like a creative. So I wanted it to make sense. You know, you hear about like these legendary like logos and these symbols that have so much meaning to them. And I just thought about it for a long time. And you know, I had all these terrible names, and Corey, my little brother, he's like the last level of approval to anything that we do. And I took him all of these names, and he was like, no, they all suck. And then he was like, what do you think about like Legion? So I took the name Legion. I started playing with the typography of it, and then I saw that the EG could make a 39, and the rest is history. I kind of took that and was like, oh yeah, this all makes sense, and added a lion, which is like we grew up and our uncles would sponsor our like little league teams, and they were called the Alley Cats. So I wanted to put a cat, some type of cat in with that logo to make it all tie in very nicely. So that's how we ended up with the name.
Well, I know one of the goals of your club Legion is to promote diversity in cycling, and if you look at the climate in America today, this summer, never a better time. So how do you promote diversity, and how could people help?
Yeah, no, I think it's there's a few things. I think it's more like, you know, having the idea in mind that representation matters, right? Like seeing someone that looks like you, seeing someone that lives a lifestyle that you want to live. All of that ties into the momentum that goes behind someone wanting to do it. Like I remember when I was growing up, like to me, Lance is like the first celebrity cyclist, right? Like everything that he's done, you know, beyond the bike, that kind of stuff really, motivated me to want to live like that kind of lifestyle. Like that's what kept me in cycling, right? Being like, okay, like one day I'm going to be like an actual star. I'm not going to be like someone that's in cycling that's good, that's in Europe. Like Lance really made it so that, you know, cycling went to the next level. And I think that him and as a character, exceeded what the like level of stardom in European cycling is. And that really motivated me. And I think that that's something that we're trying to do with where we are. We're trying to just make cycling in America more appealing and more relatable to people from America. I think that, you know, cycling is this beautiful sport that has so much roots in Europe, but at the end of the day, we still have to make it relatable to the people here, because if it's not, like, we're just not going to see people get into it. So I think just changing the way it looks aesthetically, changing the way people feel about it, giving people something to hold on to. That's why we chose the name Legion of Los Angeles. It's something that'll always be the Legion of Los Angeles. We know there's a problem where teams are constantly changing names and people can't hold on to that heritage and pass that down to their kids, right? Like, I'm a Lakers fan, my dad is a Lakers fan, so on and so forth. We kind of want to hold on to that vibe. So, you know, I think people always ask me how they can help, and I think it's just being inviting, going out of their way when they see someone that maybe doesn't look like them, that comes into the sport, and going out of their way to just be really nice and inviting to those people. Because the first step is, like, you know, creating a safe environment for the people that are already in the sport, and then hopefully helping that grow, you know, slowly. It's going to take a little bit of time, but just helping that grow slowly.
Amen to that.
I love it.
Love that.
Yeah. So that's where we are. Funny enough, I was thinking about the question you guys were talking about the other yesterday with why there aren't more sprinters from America in the sport. So you guys
Well,
touch on that.
Calvin from Tulsa thinks that you're going to be heading to Paris, so we'll get you over there.
Maybe Corey for sure, man. I think Corey fits the European sprinter type a little bit better than I do. I'm like, you know, 6'1", 180 pounds. He's, you know, 5'9", 145 pounds, and can climb with climbers. So
Yeah.
It seems like that's what it is to be a sprinter now in Europe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cool.
Great point. Well,
Justin, yeah, thanks for coming on, man. This has been cool.
Yeah, Justin,
Treat for-
give Corey our best. I hope to see you guys in October, and I'll give the team our best as well, man. We really appreciate you having on.
Yeah, we're going
Appreciate
to
the friendship.
at the Hincapi Fondo. This
Yep.
is, yeah,
We'll hopefully
That's
see
right.
you there.
yeah.
Or coming. I'm not going to drop my chain this year and have
That's
to
right.
chase for the 45 minutes, man.
Yeah, don't do
I
that.
was like, Lance, where's the short route? Take me with you, buddy.
That's funny. All right, Justin. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Have
All
a
right,
good
Yeah,
day. I'll
have a great day.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Nice work, George.
That was great. Love that
See,
guy.
this is what you bring to the move. This is
Well, thank you.
you are the man.
Did you notice one thing that really stood out to me? What are you saying? How it's important to be nice to everybody, and make.
It's also important to talk into the mic too, but
Well, that really stood out to me. It's important to be nice to everybody, Mr. Armstrong.
He's lecturing you
okay.
right now.
Do I need to remind you who set up your tennis mat? Who got?
Oh, that
who
was
secured the court,
very nice. Thank you.
Who made their best attempt to get a reservation for your friends for dinner tomorrow night on
Yes.
one of the busiest
I know,
weekends in Aspen?
you have been nice lately.
I'm
saying keep it up.
My EQ is rising. I'm reading books about this
Yep.
and articles, and I'm very aware of
Got
my EQ, my emotional IQ, whatever it's called. Hey, I want to talk a little more just about this stage and about just a little preview here about the wind, and I really want to break down the difference in wind. I know that sounds weird, but it's easy to generalize and call it crosswind. But I want to break that down even more and really start to dive into just what it is that breaks up a peloton like that. But hey, before we do that, a little bit more business. Today's show also brought to you by Thrive Market. This is something I live with. Anna, she is the healthiest person I know. So when she buys things for our house, whether it's when we were growing up, we had Ziploc. She will not have a Ziploc in the house.
No plastic.
No plastic.
Wow.
And when we're eating, I mean, there is so much thought that goes in. I mean, she really believes in this. She believes in the food that she eats, that I eat, that our kids eat. Her go-to, and this is no BS. I mean, this is true. And I'm so awesome that they're here to support the show, is Thrive Market. Now, the cool thing about Thrive Market, they have the highest quality, healthy, and sustainable products, the best selection online. If you go on the website, thrivemarket.com, you'll see, and it's broken down. And a couple of my daughters are gluten intolerant. So you can go to these different areas and just easily pick out the certain zones that appeal to you. Healthy without the hassle, good for you and the planet. By the way, any orders over $49 are shipped free, delivered with carbon neutral shipping, zero waste warehouses, and the products are ethically sourced. The other thing is, amidst all this COVID and pandemic madness, when it seemed like there was nothing in the store, like if you went down to the store near your house, there was nothing on the shelves. Thrive Market, full. Like, these guys were so on top of it. I got to totally give it to them, give them a shout out. Head on over to thrivemarket.com/TheMove. By the way, too, it's a membership model, but when you go over there, you'll get a free gift of your choosing, up to $22 in value. Couple different membership models. You got a 1-month membership for $9.95 or a 12-month that averages out at about $5 a month. Head on over to thrivemarket.com/TheMove. And by the way, too, if you live in Boise, because we were just talking about Boise, this is going to be your healthiest option, right? Yep. Thrivemarket.com/TheMove.
And I can attest to how good of a cook Anna is. I mean, we've been here. I thought about this morning. We've been here for 1 week. We've had some amazing meals at your house. We had some incredible paella the other night, which I consider myself a paella connoisseur. So I really appreciate the hospitality of you and Anna so far.
She knocked it out of the park.
But this other thing that she really helped me out with yesterday, I heard this crazy thing. So I texted her to confirm. Apparently, you had an in-home manicurist come do your nails yesterday. Is there any truth to that, or you give me a hard time? You had an in-home manicurist come work on your nails.
Okay, well, it's a good.
What?
I'm
still in shock about this.
I have the mic. Okay, it's a nice try, but you're wrong. There was a lady who came over and did them. I'm gonna be totally honest with you, George, and everybody listening. A lady came over to do Anna's nails and toenails or whatever. And I walked downstairs and I said, am I up next? So I wanted to be next. Bro, like, as active as we are, like, you should see my heels. Like, it's not good. I need that lady in there scrubbing on that thing and making them nice and smooth. So, but she left and I didn't get one. So, good try. But full disclosure, I absolutely would have sat down and done it if the lady had time. But yeah. I have had that done before. You haven't?
All right, so don't give me a hard time next time
You've
I get a facial or whatever.
You've never had a mani-pedi.
I have not.
And for all you dudes out there going, oh man, I would never. You might just do one. It's like a lot of things in life. You do it once, you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. We won't get any deeper than that, but I'm telling you, it's awesome. And then they rub on your feet. They rub on your hands.
How about we start talking about Stage 7 Tour de France stage?
Before we do that, because I do want to talk about the win, but it was so cool to have Justin on. When Roca launched the new Matador, they did it. They had a lot of choices, right? They could have done it with this show. They could have done it with all the other badass athletes they sponsored. No. They did it with arguably the most influential person they could, and that was Justin Williams. Yep. Justin Williams launched these bets. Look at me right now. Huh?
They're good.
They look good.
No doubt.
I love this company. They're based in Austin, and they're also all amazing athletes. Like, they all understand this sort of the space of suffering and hard work. As we just said, Justin was their go-to guy when it came to launching the Matador, which I think is just selling out left, right, and center. But best shade I've ever worn. Bunch of different lens colors and options, frame colors and options. Totally customizable. And head on over to roca.com, ROK. There's our flow code. And here's a description on the right side of how to use it, roca.com, or just hit this flow code, and that'll take you right to it. So can we talk about the win?
Let's do it.
Because I think for you all at home, and if you just watch the coverage, they talk about crosswind. That's a very general, that's a generalization of wind, right? The key here in what we saw today in spades is if it's cross headwind, you're not going to break up the field like that. If it's straight crosswind, you might break it up for a little bit, but it's too hard for everybody, and eventually it comes back together. Now, the sort of the big star, the perfect storm, let's call it, is cross tailwind, a sustained section of open roads, no protection, and cross tailwind. When that happens, it's over. I mean, there's going to be bodies everywhere, which is exactly what we saw today. And the question is, why? Why is that? Once they create the separation and they, make 3 or 4 echelons, they can't come. They showed us today, they're going 60K an hour. You cannot come back, right? And it's so easy on the front to roll. And obviously, most of the time, the strongest guys are in the front, so they're already dealing with more horsepower in the front. Dude, they're rolling so fast, and if you can get agreement between all those guys, you never come back, which is what we saw today.
Well, not only that, apparently on the first Category 3 climb at the start of the morning, my phone just started blowing up at 5 a.m. From our sources inside the race. They just said it was carnage from the start. BORA went up to the front, tried to drop all the sprinters, and apparently at the top of the climb, there was tons of wind. So it was a super, super hard day, and by the time they got to those open fields near the finish, it was just, it was impressive to see Ineos staying together. Jumbo still had 5 or 6 guys there. Sepp Kuss, which, God, the fact that he's still there is just incredible. He's an amazing climber. We all know that, but it's just so hard technically to stay in the front group in the crosswind section. You know that more than anybody. So to see him still there and see the team all together, that was quite impressive.
And heads up by Adam Yates to be there. He was
Adam Yates,
only guy in the yellow jersey. He was the only guy from his team there.
I'm sure they're not happy about that. There's 2 or 3 guys in the second group, but when you're in the yellow jersey, you need to have guys around you. And not only that, the sprinters, the Sam Bennett's and these guys not making it early on, that indicates how hard they must have gone up that Category 3 climb, because for them not to be there was quite surprising to wake up and see that.
Well, to our point yesterday, these guys were out. They knew what was coming. They went out and they were fully prepared and they also knew exactly what the wind was doing. So it makes it even more critical. Go out, warm up, hit it, bam, get to an open section, cross tailwind. Yeah, see you in the douches.
There's going to be some tired legs out there tomorrow. Today was a full gas race. The guys in the group that were 5-10 minutes behind all day, that's super depressing. Like you screwed up. You're off the back on a stage where you typically should not be off the back. You should be in the first group. I wouldn't want to be the guys on the dinner table that did not make those first couple splits.
And the other thing that's going to be tired is the mind, because these days it's obviously physically hard when it's that fast and that technical, so to speak. And you're literally having to fight for the wheel every second of the day. It's just exhausting. Like if you're constantly having to make sure that you're out of the wind, and obviously at some point that's how that thing snaps, because somebody is in the wind and he cannot hold that. He's as we say, in the gutter, right? The road ends and he's all the way pushed to the right. He opens a gap. That's how echelon 1 goes, and mentally it just fries you.
So my dad always used to yell at me in races, "You got to be Mosca." And I actually asked him, what did he mean by that? So you got to be like a mosquito at all times, especially during the Tour de France. When there's roads changing, the roads are going from sides of highways to bike paths, the wind's coming. If you're sitting there chatting with your buddy and you miss a split of something like that, it's 100% your fault. If you're not paying 1,000% attention at all times during these classic races or races like the Tour de France, when there's so much on the line, it's your fault.
I feel like that's a new T-shirt.
I'm trying to make
I like it.
You
got to be Mosca.
Connection.
Yeah, the Mosca.
You got to be Mosca.
Got to be Mosca.
Okay.
Hey, but what? Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out what that means.
You got to be like a mosquito. How hard is it to? You couldn't slap that mosquito the other day when he was buzzing around us. They're always like on paying attention. You can't catch it, and it's ready to move at any moment.
Gotcha.
Right? Even though it might not look like it, it's ready to pounce.
And we're from Texas. We have a lot of mosquitoes. We should know this stuff.
Got to be Mosca, baby. New T-shirt. Thanks, Dad.
Got to be Mosca.
But yeah, it was. And who misses out, right? So you have, if we think about any time this happens, there are going to be anywhere from 2 to 5 favorites that just don't make that front group.
This is one of those stages. You guys use this description, which is weird to a lot of people. You go, it's not a stage where you can win the Tour de France, but it's a stage you can lose it.
Correct.
You guys use that saying a lot. This is one of those.
100%.
Absolutely.
So we saw Carpatz had a technical flat tire. They lost him. The fact that they don't have Carpatz and Sivakov within a minute or 30 seconds of the overall is a big deal for Ineos. The reason they brought them was they were potential threats for the overall as well. They could use them later on in the race to put other teams under pressure. Now that they're kind of behind on the time, they don't have all the power that they needed for tactically for later on in the race. So that's an unfortunate situation for them, but they are looking better.
What did you guys think of Ineos sending help back for Carapaz when that thing was motoring.
Well, apparently they were the aggressors.
Yeah.
So they were the aggressors. They still had one guy left to try to minimize this Carapaz's time, which, you know what, even with one guy going back, there is no way in hell they're going to close this gap of, whatever it was at that time, 30, 40 seconds when the peloton is going 60 kilometers an hour. One guy, I'm sorry, with no cars and there for help, there's no way they're coming back.
And the next group, and we talk about it, this is the day you can't win it, but you can lose it. Some of the favorites, Mikel Landa loses a minute 21. Pogačar, who's not, maybe not on our short list for favorites, but is one of these up-and-coming young kids, loses the same amount of time. I mean, if you're back in that group, and also just mentally, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, no, it's
just a blow.
It's a total blow, especially the guys in the group's way back. But I don't know if you guys caught, we got our boy Pino sneaking into the top 10 in the overall right now. Hasn't even really hit the big mountains.
I refuse to talk about
We
this.
saw last year what he did in the Pyrenees. So if he's as good as he was last year, we're going to see some action this weekend. That's for sure.
And we're going to have to talk about, because we're just getting so many conflicting reports, and I'm trying to get a damn answer about this, is there's speculation that we have, obviously the rest day on Monday, they're going to test the entire peloton. There's some talk that if X amount, a small percentage of the riders test positive, they will just cancel the tour. Right. And I really want an answer on this, and I wish I had it.
Here's the scary thing. The scary thing is on Monday, 600 people are going to get tested. So statistically right now, there's a high chance that, a percentage of those are going to be positive. And let's just hope that does not have an effect on the race moving on to Paris.
Here's the thing. If anybody knows the answer, please tell us. And I'm going to work my best to find the answer, because it is so significant. If that is the case, then the Tour you have to race this weekend, which is tomorrow and Sunday, like it's the end of the Tour. You have to, because just based on common sense, based on the probability of false positive, based on just the feasibility that happens, you have to race like the race is over.
Yep.
Which is also, it would suck for all of us if they ended the race. But if they race it like it, just think about it. That dynamic, we've never seen that. And we talked about it.
I don't want to think about it. I want this. We all want this race to get to Paris.
Of course we do, but we also want these bad boys racing like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, which they're going to race like that anyway. There's a rest day on Monday.
And look at these. If these are the last two stages, we're going to see. You saw already how tomorrow finishes, which you don't like.
I don't like that.
Why do the downhill after a category one? Look at the next day.
This is
same thing.
This is the representative from the Pyrenees. This is not.
Guys.
We're listening.
You go back to tomorrow's stage. Go back in history of this stage. 2007. Johan can attest to. I was in a breakaway all day, and my only job was, I got Vinacroft pop me on the last climb of the Paris Sword. No, it was actually the Col de Ballas I got popped, but I had to keep going full gas because Johan knew that Contador was coming, and my only job was to get over the Paris Sword before he did, and he actually caught me right at the top, and we bombed the descent, and we put about 30 seconds on, which later on became my teammate, Cadel Evans. And Contador ended up winning the Tour de France by a super small margin, less than 30 seconds. So this could be a very impactful stage, no doubt. Tomorrow's stage.
Yeah, I just don't like finishing downhill, and that is a very tricky downhill. You mark my words, there'll be somebody's going to pay the price tomorrow on that downhill. Especially if they think this is potentially the risk.
Yeah.
We're talking legit climbs here, guys. The Col de Mente, it's super steep. Then the Col de Ballas, very, very difficult climb, small road.
I'm going to start correcting you on all these. It's Col de Monte.
Okay,
And it's
sorry.
Porte de Ballas.
Porte de Ballas, and then the Paris Sword. We're near Spain. We're going to see Lando. We're going to see, hopefully, Valverde, the Spanish teams, be super aggressive. These climbs are usually packed with Spanish fans. So I'm expecting some big fireworks tomorrow.
I know we're jumping around because we started going into tomorrow, but we do need to spend some time talking about Wout van Aert, who's so impressive.
We'd be here for 10 hours. This guy can do it all.
We'll get to that in a second, but then there was also Julian Alaphilippe's little antics in the sprint that we wanted to address.
Wout's incredible. You see he's there with the team, helping the team the whole way, the last 20K. Then he gets his sort of a free card in the last couple kilometers, and he wins it on his own. The guy has an incredible form right now. What a class act! It's just and young. He's super young. What is he? 24 years old. So
Yeah.
we're going to see a.
And don't forget, we all watched last tour when he had a crash that a lot of people said would or could be the end of his career. It was that bad. Hit his knee square on a barrier.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people saying he'd never race a bike again. So to see him just ride around, no chain, do whatever he wants. By the way, if I'm in that bike race and it's a day like today, I don't care what team I'm on, I'm following him around.
Yeah.
He is not going to make a mistake. He's not going to miss a break. He's not going to miss a split. I just follow him around.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that dude, he's got it. He's got the power, but he's also got the nose.
He's got the Mosca.
He's got the. He is a Mosca. He's a grande
He's a
Mosca.
Yep.
We should tell him that. You know what? You're a mosquito. And then the thing with Alaphilippe, if you just watch it initially, you think that Jasper Stuyven moved over on him, but as they reshowed it, he was the one that was moving over on Stuyven, and it was I love Alaphilippe, but don't give us the show, especially if you were the one who caused the contact.
Yeah, he definitely caused it, but there's a lot of adrenaline going there, a lot of tension, so. Clearly, he's feeling aggressive. He wants that yellow jersey back, and who knows? Maybe he gets it back tomorrow.
Why do you have to be so nice? Just listen. Just at some point, say
Did
I
you not
agree.
hear, Justin? Did you not? We're trying to be nice to everybody now.
Oh boy!
But also, we saw Sagan. Apparently, he had a bit of a chain issue. We were wondering. He had a straight run into the line, and all of a sudden, he's not even in the picture.
I asked Johan. I said, "What happened? Was there?" He said, "No." He said, "Just he doesn't have the power."
Oof.
Yeah, I mean that team.
He's back in green. Your favorite.
Well, I'm not going to argue with Peter Sagan being in the green jersey. I don't, he's only done 5 now, but now he's probably done like 8 days in the last I don't know how many years outside of his team. I mean, he's never wears his team jersey. He's either the green jersey or the world champion jersey or the yellow jersey. So
prior to this tour, you had 126 days in green.
God.
A stat from Johan.
Wow.
Did you say he's back in green today, right? Or
Yeah,
not?
I believe so. Yeah,
he
that's
is.
why they pressed it early.
Yep.
All right.
Picks for tomorrow, or we
Yeah.
do comments or picks?
No. You guys should pick first.
Mr. Armstrong?
Gosh. I mean, I think it's I think the downhill is we've done this downhill a bunch. It's going to be somebody it has to be somebody that can ride downhill fast. It's gnarly and it's fast. Oh God. Don't make you go first, George. I mean, I'm tempted to pick Alaphilippe, to be honest with you.
That's a great pick. I'm going to go with Pinot for tomorrow.
Oh, child, please. There is no. Have you lost your fucking mind? There is no.
You heard it here. He's creeping up. He's recovered from his injury.
I just said you have
Last
to be able to
year-
go downhill.
He can go downhill.
No, he cannot. He cannot go down.
He used to not be able to go downhill, but he's gotten much, much better.
Stop it. You're either born to go downhill or you're not. Just like Justin Williams is a born bad motherfucker. You either born that way or you're not. Pinot cannot go downhill.
I
like
would
that.
typically agree with that statement, but he has gotten much better downhilling.
I'm gonna have to pick. I'm gonna have to pick Alaphilippe.
That's a good pick.
All right, some comments and questions here real quick. We got people checking in from all over the world, which is cool. Hello from Denmark, from PHHH20. Hey guys, keep it up. Greetings from Spain. That's Luke. A big fan from Portugal. That's Carlos. And now let's get to some questions here. Oh, and hello from Norway. Vegard, checking in from Norway.
Love that.
Yeah.
I do know where Norway is.
It's either Jacob or Jakob. But Lance, you often have said that Ulrich was your biggest rival. Which rider did you consider to be your second strongest rival?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, there is an answer. It is, and I'll just tell you, it's a distant second. I mean, when I say distant, I mean really distant. There was a group of guys, whether it's Basso or Baloki or even teams, back in the sort of 2000 era, 2001, Once was a big, they had so much depth that they could throw 4 or 5 guys at you or throw 4 or 5 guys at our team.
Pantani.
Pantani was there was a and Pantani, the rivalry with Pantani, he didn't wake me up early or keep me up late at night, not to discredit or diminish him, but that rivalry was really a manufactured rivalry through the media, which is what sports media does. Fair enough. And he was just an enigma and a total character and a guy that I was never close to. I'll say two things: never close to him, but I deeply, deeply miss him. And I spoke about this on the 30 for 30. Marco Pantani should still be. He should be standing at these finish lines, at the start lines every day. He was a god. He was a god in Italy, and he was a personality. I mean, he was the biggest athlete in Italy at the time, and that's what the sport of cycling needs. And this is what Justin was saying: is to create, this vibe and this charisma and just this following around athletes. Sports live and die not by events, by the athletes. If it's golf, it's Tiger. If it's basketball, it's Michael or Kobe or LeBron. If it's swimming, it's Phelps. If it's cycling, it's Pantani. We gotta have those guys and gals.
Very good. This is probably more directed at George. It's from Ramiz. He says, George keeps saying, this is the most stressful situation every stage. It'll be interesting to know what really is the most stressful situation that you guys ever dealt with.
Right before he rides with me every day.
That and it's the Tour de France. I mean, the finals, the descents, the wind, everything that's on the line. It makes every day, and in many situations, very, very stressful. That's what makes the race. That's what makes the Tour de France so special.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tour is 10 times any other event, and this thing's just everything's elevated.
A lot of pressure.
And it looks like our good friend Joe Natali, he did not do this rendering, but he has spawned a cottage industry of people that, and this one's good. I mean, because if you look at G.I. Joe, and this is, of course, the new George action figure, it's called Classified Series, and it's the Gung Mo. But the one thing that you pointed out to me, JB, which I just love, and for everybody looking, especially all you ladies that think that this is the most handsome man ever, there's a choking hazard / small parts. See the warning label on the top right?
And you can purchase this at hincabby.com. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that is something else. And then I think we also have the video of this sweet couple that we ran into at Woody Creek Tavern. And at first, I got to say, the way she responded, like, yeah, we're on our honeymoon, I was like, oh, no. Like, she hates us. And then we saw them on the bike path later, and this is what unfolded.
All right, kids, congratulations.
On the honeymoon.
Tell them to quit listening to the podcast.
And he almost crashed me. He almost took me out.
To the Vegases.
We just got married. They just got married to the Vegases. Happy wedding.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's right, George.
We'll see you on the move tomorrow, right?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And Lance just about crashed me, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
what were you doing there? I'm selfie videoing this whole interaction. Like, I see them up in the road. Like, we need to film this. This is gonna be great. And
Right.
you're like, okay, what do we say? I'm like, let's just flow with it.
Right.
Take the camera. I'm going, and this guy can't move his neck, right? So he just starts leaning over, and it's a small bike path, and there's a ditch on the other side, and he starts taking me into the ditch while I'm trying to film this whole interaction.
When it's almost like somebody has poured cement down my throat and I cannot move my neck, I moved over on you. I apologize. You heard me say it on the thing. I am sorry. I mean, it almost ruined these poor people's honeymoon.
It almost ruined my Aspen trip.
I know. By the way, and I don't blame you, because I don't even know what you say when somebody gets married. I guess you just say congratulations.
know what to say
You're like
either. Happy wedding.
happy.
What do you say?
Anniversary point or whatever. What you say? Congratulations.
That's it.
Or happy nuptials. Do you say that? You guys can write in.
I don't know. It did sound weird. I screwed
Tiff,
up.
what do we say? What do you say? Happy.
I had just been taken out by you, so I didn't know what to say. I was just happy I was still on the bike.
You were a bit verklempt.
I just can't help but think how pimp it is to have the last name Vegas.
Yeah.
The Vegases.
That's badass.
That is badass. You got anything else for us,
This
JB?
was a good question, I thought. And then it says, thanks for your awesome coverage of the tour and cycling in general. Your humor is a good insight and compliment to the race. The yin and yang between Lance and George is tremendous. My question is, as you all continue to focus on Roglic and Jumbo-Visma and Bernal, is what do you think about Nairo Quintana and his chances? Now that he's on a new team, do you think he has a chance? I've not heard his name mentioned much.
Well, I picked him one of the days, right? I mean, I think if it does end up being a 3-week race, which we all hope it will, he doesn't have the team to support him, but he's still who he is. He's arguably one of the most explosive climbers in the race. These stages, these next 2 days, he could play a factor there.
I agree, and he started off the year really strong. Won a ton of races in the spring. Seemed to have like a whole new sense of motivation on this new team that he's on. They're all 100% behind him, so I think he's definitely a podium contender. So we can't count him out. But we're also going to most likely have our on the road correspondent Andy Schleck join us tomorrow. Hopefully, if he's not in some crazy stuck on top of some mountain somewhere, but this is sort of his area. He always shined in the mountains.
This is a significant stage for him, if you remember.
So Andy,
I believe
come on, let's get some good Wi-Fi and join us tomorrow.
This was where Chaingate happened.
That's right.
So he can, if anybody can speak to these roads, and just if you people think back less than 10 years ago, this played a significant role in his career for sure.
I just thought it was interesting to point this out too, because that email came from Dr. Matt Gilchrist. Think about your track and cross country coach growing up in high school, doctor of sports management, head coach for cross country, track and field in Virginia. Like, they've got a doctor of sports management, just a we always got the hand-me-down football coach who cross country got dumped on him.
Then I'm sorry about that. That's too bad for you. My and this is a true story. My high school track and cross country coach was a professional runner. His name was James Mays, and little known fact, when they broke the world record in the Dream Mile, he was the rabbit. So he ran the first 800. He rabbited the world record. That was my track and cross country coach. So I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, maybe you had like the.
It was usually a football coach who just
run hard.
Yeah, go run.
Yeah. No,
That's
we were lucky.
Wow.
All right. Well. Tomorrow we'll see, and just so many question marks. We're gonna. I really want to, and I'm being dead serious. We got to start to figure out what the policy is going to be here. And of course, it is cycling, so the policy is always in flux with cycling. But at some points, somebody needs to know just how they're going to approach this rest day, the massive amount of testing they're going to do, what's going to give them the green light to continue. So but still, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach these next 2 days, thinking that they may be done, which means we would be done, which means that would suck.
Yep.
George would fly home early.
Yeah, that would suck.
George had some fancy friends come watch the race with us today. Sounds like they got a jizzy.
I don't know about that, but
because you were working on a ride home if the race gets canceled.
No, that was a different scenario.
Oh, different jizzy.
Yeah.
A jizzy is a P-jizzy. PJ, private. This is the only way the guy rolls.
No.
I'm back in fucking 32B.
You know what they say, right?
Getting Corona.
What's better than having a private jet?
Having a friend with a private jet.
Exactly.
Amen. So, on that note, George is going to go ride with his fancy friends. I've got some secret training I'm going to go try to fix my neck. Thanks for tuning in, and hey, we'll see you all tomorrow.
Fireworks this weekend. It's going to be great.